First and foremost, thank you very much, PUBG Mobile, for sponsoring this wonderful video where we're going to be looking at some of the in-depth weapon changes update 1.8 brought to us, lovely humans. As well, I want to make sure that you guys are on board for today's massive event, Into the Aftermath, where you can win all kinds of prizes. There is a sweepstakes going on during the event itself. It is live at 5 p.m. Pacific on the PUBG Mobile official channel. Do not miss out. Get over there now. To amg.games/aftermath. You'll find out how to enter the sweepstakes there to possibly win the whole streaming pack, which is going to be pretty cool. There'll be content creators on the live stream for the Aftermath event, as well as a special guest and all kinds of fun and games. So I'll be there too, which is going to be pretty cool. This video is all about the M16A4, which you can see here, and the Mark 47 Mutant, which you can see here. They're weapons I want to talk about a lot because they're weapons I love using. There is a real challenge to using burst fire weapons, and it takes a lot of finesse and a lot of skill to use them correctly. And especially in the case of the Mark 47 Mutant, I feel like the player base really gets it wrong with this weapon. I'll talk a little bit about some of the misconceptions with these two guns, what they do well, and how you can utilize them and get the most out of them, and why maybe you should think about running them in certain situations. Mostly people just use them like this on a hot drop, and then when they find something else, they move on with life, and that's enough. But there's more to it than that. Also, if you haven't downloaded the game and you're watching this and thinking that looks pretty cool, why not click the link in the description below? There's a download link there that will link directly and tell them Bushka sent you, which is great for me. And the other thing is we've got a massive event, Wednesday, 5 p.m. PT, Pacific time, on the PUBG Mobile official channel, the Aftermath, Into the Aftermath event, which is going to be a lot of giggle and a lot of fun as well. So anyway, let's crack on. They're both burst weapons. That means it fires multiple rounds at one time, but you have to tap the button, the fire button, every single time you want to make that happen. And that is difficult for a lot of people because a lot of people play with their thumbs, although a lot less now than was originally the case when the game first came out. That was when everyone was playing with their thumbs, and you didn't have claw players, you didn't have a lot of people running gyro. But we're well down that track now, and in fact, I find that I am better at controlling recoil and aiming on a mobile device than I am on a PC, which is pretty hilarious, and I didn't think that would ever be the case. While they are both burst weapons, they are very, very different both in their application and the way the burst performs. The M16A4 is a high bullet speed, average damage 5.56 AR. It has 934 meters per second bullet speed, but a base damage round of 40.9, and it fires 3 rounds in a burst. You'll see a lot of comp players running the M16A4. Paraboy is extremely famous for this at mid to long ranges and tap firing like lunatics, because the recoil was already light. A 10% reduction in the recoil of the M16A4 has been pretty crazy. But watch the Mark 47. That is a filthy little burst that you saw there. And that's what not a lot of people realize that the Mark 47 can do. It is quite capable of dominating with those burst fires when you get them on point. And that means you might have to screw around with your sensitivity settings. You might have to actually practice, get into TDMs and arena matches, but it can be worthwhile because think of it like this. The AKM has a really high base damage round, 47.9. Well, that's what the Mark 47 Mutant runs, that AKM 47.9 base damage round. Only when you press the button at 0 seconds, the AKM fires 1 round. When you press the button at 0 seconds, the Mark 47 fires 2 rounds. You can fire off 4 rounds with the Mark 47 Mutant before you can finish firing the second round on an AKM. Now, why isn't that, something that everyone runs then? Well, because when you're tap firing and controlling recoil with the right hand as well, that can be very, very difficult. Doesn't change the fact though, that this gun has enormous potential in close quarters combat. Unlocking and tapping into that potential is difficult. There's no way around that. But I like to think that if you've been playing the game for as long as I have, you enjoy the challenge. And I like that in update 1.8, that there is a huge challenge to play these guns. Let's talk a little bit now about the M16A4. Watch this recoil. Well, what recoil you say? That's because there is no bloody recoil in this thing. It has less recoil than a Mini 14. And that's saying something. And it fires the same kind of rounds, high velocity, average damage rounds. They are well and truly phenomenal weapons, both these, but their best situations are very, very different. The M16A4 can be used in close quarters combat, but it's not good. It doesn't have that same punching power. For instance, you can fire a lot of rounds with it, but getting all 3 rounds to hit the target is a lot harder than getting the 2 rounds to hit the target on the Mark 47 Mutant. And the spacing on 3 rounds vertically is quite difficult to maintain, unless of course you're in close quarters combat like this, where you can actually get an ADS in. Or, I mean, watch this. This is beautiful. That's how fast you can hit this thing. You can really step on it. And the M16A4 is also more versatile because you can run an Uzi or something along those lines before you actually go to the M16A4. So it's your weapon on a switch, whereas the Mark 47 doesn't offer you anything else. If you're not in close quarters combat, you should not be using the Mark 47 Mutant. The Mutant has been changed quite a bit over time. The ability to mount attack stock, various recoil improvements, and the M16A4 is the same because both these weapons are incredibly difficult to balance. I mean, it's simple mathematics that if you have to keep lifting your finger and putting it down on the touchscreen, then it's going to create a certain amount of recoil issues because you've got to be moving. There's more moving parts, and when there's more moving parts, things can get complex. That doesn't change the fact that the ceiling on these weapons is incredibly high. This is a great example of someone using a 5.56 AR to spray me and me getting just absolutely tapping the crap out of it with the M16. Watch this. This guy, I reposition underneath. It is brutal. Absolutely brutal when you get them right. Even when you're not sure where they are, they're just in the grass and you're just throwing stuff down range, it's really effective. And because it's got such high bullet speed, you don't have to lead it at all. And you'll see I've got a Mark 14 and a Mark 47, Mark 47 Mutant and an M16 here, and I'm always going to go with the M16 at this range. So it's harder to run the Mark 47 because it's so specific, and there are so many guns that kind of cover off on multiple ranges, like an M416, a SCAR-L. They're all guns that you can run that will allow you to have a sniper rifle in your second slot and still cover off the mid-range as well. The Mark 47 isn't that weapon. Anyway, guys, don't forget that big event coming up. Make sure to download the game if you haven't downloaded the game already. Update 1.8 has brought us a lot of different stuff, but I particularly love the weapon changes, and I'm going to be doing a few more videos on those before the day is through. Great to be back doing a little bit of work now. We had a long break over Christmas while Junior was on holidays. We went to the UK, and I can't wait to rip in and make more wonderful videos. Oh, the other thing, I run this with a 3X all the time, the Mark 47, and it zings. It's very doable. Anyway, I'm Bushka, you're the humans. Thanks for having me on board. Thanks PUBG Mobile for sponsoring the video. And as always, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.